Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Friday, December 28th, 2018. Running behind schedule today with the daily podcasts, but we're going to sneak it in here this evening, go through some of the top headlines, news and tabloid. Starting with the tabloid, Usher filed for a divorce officially today, Friday, December 28th, from his wife, Grace Miguel. And as I've been proving for years, these entertainers, they are puppets on strings. They do not have control over their own lives. They're taking orders as if they're in the military. And let me just read this article before we get to why Usher has officially filed for divorce on this specific date, December 28th. So, according to TMZ, Usher has officially filed for divorce from his estranged wife, Grace Miguel, who he publicly split with earlier this year. The Let It Burn singer filed docs obtained by TMZ in Atlanta Friday to call it quits on the marriage. The move is anything but surprising. It was back in March on the heels of several allegations and lawsuits claiming Usher spread herpes. The couple announced things were over. Back in March, I covered how the herpes headlines were by the numbers, public shaming, and of course, it's par for the course for the mainstream media, which loves to shame black males in all areas, including sexuality. But this latest news, it comes while Usher is 40 years old, and it comes on his 76th day of being 40. And notice, in Gematria, divorce equals 76 and 40 in our two most pure ciphers, which I've been teaching for more than 5 years. In case you're new here, the green cipher is just using the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. This cipher is using the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So, to show you the difference, in the green and blue cipher, D is the fourth letter, so D is worth 4 in both. I is the ninth letter. I is worth 9 in both. V is the 22nd letter. In the green cipher, V is worth 22. In the blue cipher, you take the numerology of 22. 2 plus 2 is 4. So V is worth 4 in the blue cipher. In the green cipher, O is the 15th letter. O is worth 15. You take the numerology of 15 in the blue cipher. 1 plus 5 is 6. You make each letter a single-digit number. You add up the word in the blue cipher. That's why you get a smaller number. But again, these ciphers matter, and this is why you need multiple ciphers to see through the rituals. On his 76th day of being 40, the news comes out about his official divorce. News by the numbers every single day, from TMZ to the rest of news media. Another story in the headlines, Bre Payton, dead at 26. She died from the flu. Pretty young to die from the flu. Flu is known for killing the elderly and children, not typically people in the prime of their life, what age 26 is. And she died today. I guess she was found unconscious yesterday. She was on life support today in the hospital. She officially died today, according to the news media. What's interesting is the gematria of her surname. Payton sums to 28, like how she died on the 28th. And Payton sums to 26, like how she's dead at 26. She also died in San Diego, which has gematria of 38, like death, murder, killing, R.I.P. There's not a lot of information on this woman, so it's hard to do a full decode, but just the fact that she died at 26 and on the 28th and how that syncs up with her name, and the fact that she's so young and died from the flu, it's suspicious enough. Another story today. House Republicans conclude their investigation into FBI's handling of Clinton and Russia probes. You want to bet if this is news by the numbers? So look at this. Today's December 28th, 18, the day this happens. It's a date with 58 numerology. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton competed in the election, the 58th U.S. presidential election. And a lot of people get confused on that. They're like, what? I thought it was the 45th. No. It was to be the 45th president, but it was the 58th U.S. presidential election. Some presidents have 2 terms, like Obama won 2 elections. He was number 44 for both. So anyway, it was the 58th U.S. presidential election. Remember, Donald Trump announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower. He hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray for Inauguration Day. Hillary put out a book called What Happened, about why she lost the election. What happened in Gematria sums to 58, alphabetic order and numerology. From Trump's birthday to this investigation wrapping up is 197 days later. That's the 45th prime number, like how they both ran to be the 45th president. Like how 197 days before the election, Donald Trump made two guarantees. He said he would beat Hillary Clinton and he would build the wall. That was on Melania's birthday. 197, the 45th prime, perfect news by the numbers, but that's not all. There's a little bit more here. As we talked about when this was going on, they were constantly coding the number 40 in the email investigation. That's what this has to do with, the FBI's handling of, Clinton and the email scandal and the Russia probes. Anyway, today's December 28th, 12 plus 28 is 40, emails 40, Hillary's 40. If you want to go back through my blog, there's probably 50 posts on the email news by the numbers back when it was a constant story for more than a year. So this is why it concludes today. More news by the numbers. Again, everything done in news media from federal government to TMZ is by this code. Another story in politics today. Maine governor certifies Democrat win but calls it stolen. And let's just read about this. Then we'll look at it here in numbers. Governor Paul LePage certified the election results for Maine's 2nd congressional district after a recount and legal battle dragged out the final result in the race for almost 2 months, cementing a Democratic victory. Remember, the election for the 116th Congress was on November 6th, 116. But LePage, a Republican firebrand, made one last jab at the drawn-out process when certifying the election, writing the word stolen election next to his signature. You can see that this went down today. He posted at 10:58 in the morning. November's congressional election in Maine marked the first time in U.S. history the ranked choice voting system determined the outcome of a congressional race. The new state law mandates ranked choice tabulation be applied in any federal race in which no candidate receives a majority of the vote. Democratic Rep-elect Jared Golden was projected by CNN as the winner of the election in Maine's 2nd district with 50.6% of the vote, and his opponent, Rep. Bruce Poliquin, received 49.4% of the vote. So the man who's now confirmed he's going to head to Congress, his name's Jared Golden. His birthday is July 25th, and from his birthday to him being confirmed as the winner is on his 157th day of his age. Notice it's also 22 weeks and 3 days, 223, the Masonic special. But with regards to 157, that's the 37th prime number. United States equals 157, 157, the 37th prime, Congress 37. He's on his way to Congress. How perfect. What a perfect day for this announcement. Keep in mind, today also has the date of 58 numerology. His name, Jared Golden, equals 58. Remember, that's a very special number. Freemasonry's 58, Secret Society's 58, Washington's 58, United States is 58. I noticed Jared Golden had this birth numerology summing to 133, government's 133. He's got good numbers there, Golden. Golden's also 57, like Scottish Rite, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry with its headquarters in Washington, D.C. From the date of the election to today is 52 days later as well. Government's also 52. If you use the alphabetic order, government's 133. Alphabetic order and rules of numerology, 52. So no doubt, all numerical ritual. And earlier this year, before the election was held, we looked at some of the key races. And we did this on Patreon, and we projected who was going to win these races. And we got most of them right on the nose. And one that we looked at was Kyrsten Sinema. Kyrsten Sinema down in Arizona. We showed why she was a shoo-in to win more than a month before the election. And I was actually surprised because the night of the election, it looked like she was going to lose. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, all these new votes came in and she won comfortably. And I said, yeah, she was supposed to win. She had all the numbers, of course. The entire US voting system is a fraud. Again, it's not about who votes, it's about who counts the votes. Our politicians are born and bred to be, all part of this Masonic fraternity. Another story today is the death of a newsman in Los Angeles, found dead in a Glendale, California hotel room. What I find strange about this story is supposedly he's a married man, and the person who phoned this in from the hotel room that he had probably overdosed was another man. So I'm saying, or I'm asking, was this man secretly gay? Was he having an affair? You know, did somebody out there know this man's secret that he was gay, send some handsome agent after him to lure him into a hotel room, and then a little something something got put in his drink? I wouldn't be surprised, but beyond that speculation, what jumps out right away is how the phone call about him being unconscious in the hotel room came at 1:15 p.m. and he was 43 years old. That stands out right away because both of these numbers have to do with killing. Again, there's that song out there, Gematria, the killing name. Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. Gematria, a Masonic practice. Notice, in Gematria, killing and Masonic both sum to 115 and 43. Again, he's dead at 43. It was phoned in at 1:15. Notice, he was at Pioneer Drive. Pioneer Drive has that Gematria 67 like blood sacrifice, and Pioneer has Gematria 46 like sacrifice, like how Genesis 46 begins with a sacrifice. This happened in Glendale, Arizona on the 34th parallel, the 118th meridian. Murder equals 34, death 118. All sorts of ritualistic numbers that we find again and again in these sacrifices. Again, if you haven't read my book, Letters and Numbers, the longest chapter in that book is a book within a book. The chapter is over 150 pages long. It's called Murder by Numbers, after the song from 1983 about how killing people is as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. You read that chapter, you'll see how often those same numbers we just covered come up again and again and again and again. It is sick. So I was reading this man's bio this morning, and I saw that his father worked for NASA. And, you know, a lot of people are reminded of Project Bluebeam after what happened yesterday in New York, which was also the same day this man was found dead. This man was found dead Thursday, yesterday, December 27th, the same day New York sky was lit up blue and seemingly a blue beam came down from the sky. If you're not familiar with Project Bluebeam, it's a alleged conspiracy theory about a secret military program NASA was running. And anyway, I just want you to see what's so interesting about this man who has family connections to NASA dying the day of what happened in New York City. Notice his birthday is January 11th in the year 1975. January 11th, 111. And get to why that matters. New York with the alphabetic order equals 111. They blamed the sky being lit up blue on a transformer explosion, which equals 111. I remember the day of a big military experiment in New York City. It was September 11th, 2001, the day leaving 111 days left in the year. Could also tell you about Matt Harvey in the 111th World Series getting pulled on his 111th pitch on November 1st after Hosmer with a 111 batting average in the series ended his appearance in the game. And by the way, I called the Mets in spring training of the 111th World Series, understanding how everything in this world is rigged by these numbers that comes through the media, from sports to news to celebrity deaths to divorces, etc. Anyway, New York with the alphabetic order 111, the abbreviation NY39. And remember, 39 is always the number in New York, like how December 27th, 12 plus 27 is 39. Now, this man here, again, he died on this date with the 39 numerology, and he died in Glendale, which has a gematria of 39. With the alphabetic order, Glendale's 33. With the reverse alphabetic order, Glendale's 39. Notice how Glendale Masonry secrecy, they're all 3339, biblical numbers. This code's biblical. 39 books in the Old Testament, the Jewish section. Gematria comes from Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. Notice New York, 3933, the Empire State, 3933, Federal, 3339, as in the military, as in NASA, as in media, which is all sanctioned by the FCC. Something tells me that this man is a ritual sacrifice, and he truly was killed as a newsman for the planned news spectacle later in the day in New York. Keep in mind, he was a newsman in LA. What are the two biggest cities in this nation? Are they not New York and LA, coast to coast, kitty corner from each other? I think this man was lured into a hotel room and he was murdered, all for part of this sick planned ritual. By the way, the date of his death, date with 30 numerology like we talked about, also a date with 57 numerology. Notice the name Chris, 57 and 39. His name was Chris Burrous. And they're saying that they believe he overdosed. Supposedly the man who called in to say, who was in the hotel room with him, who they're not naming, he called in and said he believed he'd overdosed. And perhaps he knew that because perhaps he gave him the hot dose. But they were at the Days Inn Motel. And again, this is how it is with these rituals again and again. These people are at the perfect locations, the perfect names. It's like everything is planned this way. And you got to listen to that song, Murder by Numbers. You know, killing people's as simple as A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. You got to make sure your numerical ritual's in place. But they were at the Days Inn, which has this gematria of 103, like overdose, like Scottish, as in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Again, right next to the federal government headquarters. But the thing about 103 is it's the 27th prime number. And this happened on the 27th of the month. And as I write about in my book, the 27 Club, so many of those young rock stars who died at age 27, they died on a date with 103 numerology, or they died 103 days from their own birthday. The number always shows up next to 27. 103, the 27th prime. I'm talking about this all the time. Again, Scottish Rite's also 57. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the most Jewish branch, with the headquarters in D.C., land of the feds. This man also worked for KTLA News, Gematria 44 and 64, just like the word kill, like how each month with the 44 and 64 date numerology, every single month we say circle that date and we see how the celebrity sacrifices line up. Happens every single month like perfect clockwork. Just to review what happened last night in New York, remember, New York's the land of 39. New York's 39, York's 39, Empire's 39, NYC's 39, NY's 39, New York, NY's 39. It's not just the words. Again, it's the dates. Went into this heavy last night talking about the New York ritual. Watch that video if you want more information. But again, yesterday had the 57 date numerology as well. They blamed it on a Transformer explosion. Transformers 57. This comes days after the new Transformer movie, Bumblebee. CNN coded this headline right here. Transformers tripped offline, which equals 147, like Transformer itself, like Freemason, like conspiracy, also like outer space, in light of Project Bluebeam, NASA related. This picture the mainstream media put out looks like a blue mushroom cloud. And again, this happened in Queens. Well, so they say. They say it was due to the Con Edison plant in Queens. Again, this is on the 27th. Look at Queens with the alphabetic order and the reverse alphabetic order. 2727. For a little bit of information on Project Bluebeam, it has Gematria 58, like Freemasonry, like Rosicrucian, like secret society, like how NASA was established in 58, like how NASA's always been run by Freemasonry. The New York Times used this image that looks like a blue beam coming out of the sky. New York and Project have that Gematria 39, like Masonry and secrecy. The man who put out this conspiracy and wrote a book about it, I find it strange that he died in the year 96, because Freemason's 96, and he also died at age 51. Conspiracy and Federal's 51, reminiscent of Area 51. You got to ask yourself, why are the Masonic numbers coded on everything? And again, if you just look at history, you start to go, oh, well, I guess it makes sense. This nation was founded by Masons. Oh, wow, Masons. There were millions of them in the 1700s. I wonder how many there are now. You know? It's not hard to see who's running the show with secrets. Remember, JFK was trying to come out and talk about the secrecy? Then he got shot in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason on November 22nd. What's 11 plus 22? Speaking of 58, I want to show you something. I keep talking about the Kevin Spacey Christmas Eve, Let Me Be Frank YouTube upload, which was a tribute to House of Cards and Donald Trump, the groper in chief. The first accuser of Kevin Spacey was Anthony Rapp, who's a star in the musical Rent, which begins on Christmas Eve. The story of Rent begins on Christmas Eve, like how Kevin Spacey did his upload on Christmas Eve. Anthony Rapp in Gematria sums to 58, like Kevin Spacey, like Washington, like United States, like Freemasonry, like secret society. Kevin Spacey was 58 years old last year when the accusation happened. And again, Donald Trump, Trump card, House of Cards, two gropers. So that was last year, but now we're getting the update in the sequel. Notice Anthony Rapp, his birthday is October 26th. And check this out. From his birthday this year to Kevin Spacey's Christmas Eve upload was 59 days later. Kevin Spacey, born in 59, is now 59 years old. Kevin Spacey's name sums to 59, just like Freemasonry. Freemasonry's 58, 59, so is Kevin Spacey. Again, Freemasonry also sums to 59 in Hebrew. 59 is the 17th prime. Modern Freemasonry began in the year 1717. Not by accident, because these people do everything by the numbers. But the other thing about Rent is look at the Gematria of Rent, 24, like how Christmas Eve is the 24th day of the month. So no doubt this is what it's all about. Rent begins on Christmas Eve. This is how the riddle all comes together so perfectly. And again, it's just a perfect reminder who's running the show, from the sitcoms to the Oval Office. And again, everything that happens in House of Cards is no less real or more real than what happens in the actual White House. They're scripted the exact same way. They do the same things in that television show that they do in what we consider real life. I feel bad for all the people trying to dissect and analyze things who aren't aware of this knowledge. You just can't do a thorough decode of what's going on in this world if you do not have this information. This information, you know, it's the icing on the cake. It's the proof. So we'll keep this one short today. We'll finish up with a little bit of this day in history. And admittedly, I got lazy with today's day in history, but I just saw this and I thought this is a good enough example to just further expose what I'm talking about. On this day in history, the former First Lady to Woodrow Wilson, she died. Her name was Edith Bowling Galt Wilson. She died at age 89. And what's interesting about her dying on December 28th and that she was married to Woodrow Wilson is that Woodrow Wilson's birthday is December 28th. You know, just too many coincidences in this world, if you ask me. So anyway, Truth Seeker, I normally do an hour-long podcast on the daily, but today some things came up, so we're just going to keep it short. We're going to end it right here. Be back Monday. Unless you're on Patreon, I'll be back tomorrow. But for those of you who like the podcast, that's a Monday through Friday thing. Definitely be back with the next podcast Monday. You never know. I might be back this weekend if there's some big news story in the world. But got to spend some time with the family right now. So have a good rest of your evening. If I don't come back this weekend, have a great weekend. And I'll see you Monday. Till next time, Truth Seeker.